Well, here we are at the makeshift electronics workbench with the creaky chair. And taking a crack at this thing. So that's the tail light. I've stripped out all of the wiring off of the control board here. Stripped out all the battery contacts because we're not going to be using double A's for this. I've put in a 30 ohm resistor right here. It's a half watt, but I didn't have any quarter watts, and I guess, you know, bigger is better, right? So I'm going to tack that across the positive lead here, strip off this red wire. And then I've got a 5-volt regulator somewhere. Well, I got a whole mess of them right here. So this is going to get 12 volts in from our headlight power supply, which is this guy. This is going to step the 36 volts nominal down to 12 volts. This is a wide range supply. It'll take up to 60. So this will step it down to 12. The 12 will go straight up to the headlight whenever the battery power is on and the battery is plugged into the bike. And then the 12 volt will also come back here, go through that 5 volt regulator, and go through this guy to produce 67 milliamps across these two LEDs. Which is less than the 75 it was taking when I tested it. That's probably for the best. 75 sounds like it's really grilling those LEDs, but I don't have any data on the LEDs, so I don't know. For all I know, they're just doing it right, and these things are humming along with no problem. But we'll start with this resistor and see if it's bright enough. I have a bench supply that is untested, so I guess we will test that and the light at the same time. it works. If I short across one of these, it's drawing about 86 milliamps, but I think that's to do with the fact that there's suddenly less voltage drop since it's a series circuit instead of a parallel circuit like it was before. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be okay. The 30 ohms was already a little conservative, and it's been running for a couple minutes and nothing's warm. I mean, not that it would be, because it's not dissipating hardly anything. And that's just off of 9 volts, so that's fine. So this is regulating it down to 5 volts, and then this is adding the extra resistance it needs to bring the current down. And so yeah, that'll just stay lit the whole time. I'm just going to tape down this guy and probably glue that resistor into place, though it's pretty snug in there already, but it is going to get bashed around as it gets ridden. So I think we'll call that a win for right now. So these long leads are going to go up to the front of the battery, and they're going to go onto 2 of the 4 unused terminals on the battery plug. And then in the control box we'll put this guy in there, and this one I'll put a heat sink on this chip since it's going to be running the headlight too, though this is also quite overrated for running 2 LEDs and, well, 2 LEDs and also 1 other LED. So but yeah, that's good. That's it's always scary doing point-to-point stuff because it always looks so ugly. Many sins hidden by that heat shrink. So the next piece of this puzzle is I drilled a little hole for the 2 wires to go through, and I'm just going to zip tie it on the back, and then I'm going to use some hot glue to hold this regulator down into place over here, and just a little dollop on this resistor just for shits and giggles. I found all of the hardware for this battery, so after I've got that back together, I can thread it through the back plate, which I got some around here somewhere. Oh, this is actually ready to go, so we'll just start right now with this. Just glue, smear and glue. And a zip tie. What did I do with my zip tie? I'm not sure what I did with my zip tie. Anyway, we'll put some of that goop around here as well. I guess a little on the back side just for S's and G's. And we'll unplug this terrible hot glue gun. I don't want to like overstate its terribleness, but it's pretty bad. Now there's hot glue everywhere. I don't know if you can see this, but basically the wires are going to go back through here, and then all this is going to snap together and screw together and stuff. So this is all back together, and the battery gauge works, and when I shut it off it doesn't work, which is appropriate behavior. The power button obviously no longer works on the tail light, and the tail light, because it's taking power externally, there's just those two wires running all the way up front, just like you saw, to these couple of spare terminals on top here. So the next thing to do is I'm going to pull this mating connector out of this compartment, and I'm going to install that power adapter in there, and then so the input will be off of these two big side terminals, and the 12 volt output will be back into these two top terminals here, and then that way when this is switched on and plugged into this box, you will get you'll get a tail light and a headlight. So that's the next step. So here we go. That whole mess of stuff now provides 12 volt whenever the 36 volts is switched on, which means nice bright headlights, nice bright tail light, all run off the traction battery. Now all I got to do is the rest of it. Okay, I got more parts, so we've got some miscellaneous things to do. And this is the new headset. Looks just like the old headset, except for the outer diameter is fractionally smaller. And I also have these spacers, which will get knocked onto the ends of this headset, and this is what spaces it out to fit the frame. The headset itself threads onto the fork just fine. I also have a flat sprocket for the rear wheel, so that's going to straighten out the chain line. And I took this off so I can grease it and assemble it properly. I noticed one of these magnets is turned the wrong way around, so there was a dead spot on the pedal sensor. So I'm going to flip that one over. I'm going to put some paint on all of these, or some fingernail polish on all of these to keep them in one spot. I found the rest of the screws to bolt this together, and I'm going to grease all of these threads, grease up the bearings, and just like install this, so that'll be ready to go. I'm going to grease and install the seat post. I'm going to grease and install the kickstand, and gonna grease and install the headset, and then it'll be a bike that can stand on its own. Oh yeah, I also got this thing. That is a Sturmey Archer special tool for doing various things. That works on a wheel nut. This is a open-end wrench of indeterminate size, a square wrench thing for something, and the most important part is this hook, which is what will let me set the angle on the drum brake bracket to match the frame. It only has to be done once, but it does have to be done, or else things aren't going to line up. So, onward, rather. Alright, so we got that together. We got this back on. I sort of forgot that this had to not be installed to get that spring clip on. But it's done now. And it works. Even makes the same clang it did before. So that's good. Grease the shit out of that. Grease the shit out of this. Got that thing painted on one side, so I guess I'm gonna do the other now. And then we'll get this headset installed. Kind of trucking along. This is a nice change of pace. Okay, well, I dropped it, and so I was getting grumpy, and it's hot out here, and I scuffed the paint, though I think I can smooth that out. So instead, I put the wheels on and used that newly installed kickstand so it will not fall over again. And I test fitted that back fender, which is fine. This thing is all done and ready to go on. And all this stuff went together okay. But there's always a but. By the way, that's the much more interesting bike that I don't get to play with until this one is done. With these lips on these sleeves, that takes up the last tiny little bit of stack height that I need to make this fork work. This fork that I don't even like anyway, but that's what I got. So I'm gonna have to take this apart. I'm gonna have to pound these races out, and then I'm gonna have to just like carefully file off the lips on those sleeves so that they can be fit fully into the fork, which will get me the extra couple millimeters that I need to finish this damn thing. Other things I could do, I could get the motor or the battery rack installed. I could put the handlebars on and figure out what exactly I gotta do lengthwise to trim down those wires so that they're an exact fit for this application. I could use that fancy Sturmy Archer thing that I bought and adjust this brake bracket so it sits up here where it needs to go instead of down there in the weeds. I could just go inside and have a pop, and I think that's what I'm going to do for right now. I would like to get this bike done by the end of the week, and I think that's feasible, but I really don't want to have to take all that apart again, but I gotta. So maybe I'll bite the bullet and do that tomorrow when it's supposed to be extra hot and extra humid, and so I'll be miserable anyway. But this thing, oh my god, this thing is so interesting. So very interesting. Anyway, daydreaming. Next step, finish fucking with this.